The alien patrol ship drifted through the empty void, its silver hull reflecting faint light from distant stars. The crew sat in silence, watching their scanners hum softly. They were used to long, boring missions, patrolling sectors no one cared about. Yet this day was different. Something unusual pulsed on their screens. "Commander, I detect an energy reading," said the sensor officer. Her voice trembled slightly as glowing lines filled the display. "Large mass ahead, no movement, but the signature is strange." The commander leaned forward in his chair. His scales shimmered in the dim light. "Magnify," he ordered. The screen focused, revealing a massive dark shape floating like a corpse in space. It was a warship, easily 10 times larger than their patrol vessel. Its hull was scarred, covered in strange armor plating that glowed faintly in places. "It's human design," whispered one of the younger crew members. His mandibles clicked nervously. The word human made everyone on the bridge shift uncomfortably. "Impossible!" the commander scoffed. "Humans are gone. They vanished centuries ago. What you see is only debris, a relic." Still, no one could take their eyes off the warship. It looked dead, lifeless, but somehow too whole, too complete. Unlike the broken wrecks they sometimes found drifting, this ship seemed asleep rather than destroyed. "Shall I run a scan?" asked the sensor officer, already adjusting controls with shaky claws. "Yes," the commander said after a pause. "Do it. Let us confirm it is nothing but old metal." The pulse went out, invisible waves wrapping around the giant warship. For a moment, nothing happened. The alien crew exhaled, relief spreading. Then the deck vibrated under their feet. A low hum rolled through space, and the patrol ship's lights flickered. "Power surge detected!" cried an engineer. "Origin, the human vessel!" On their screen, faint lights came alive across the dreadnought's hull. Lines of blue and red energy glowed like veins. One by one, enormous weapon ports lit up, not firing, only waking. "This is not possible," whispered the young crewman. "It's responding to us. It felt the scan," the commander growled, but his voice cracked. "Maintain distance. Do not provoke it further." But it was too late. The dreadnought shifted slightly, its colossal bulk turning as if it had chosen to look at them. Those ships had no eyes. Every alien on board swore they felt its gaze. One officer's claws scraped the console. "Sir, it's aligning. Sensors show internal systems activating, shields, reactors, drone bays. Everything is coming online. Send a message to command," barked the commander. But the comm officer's face turned pale. "No signal leaving jamming field around us, sir. It cut us off." The crew's fear thickened. The patrol ship was small, fragile, no match for even a damaged cruiser, let alone this sleeping giant. "Why would humans leave such a thing?" whispered the sensor officer. "Why here, in empty space?" The commander did not answer. He stared at the emblem on the dreadnought's side. A faint red glow traced the symbol, old but unmistakable, the mark of humanity. A simple outline of Earth wrapped by steel wings. Legends flooded the minds of the crew, tales told by their ancestors. Stories of human war machines that burned fleets to ash. Ships that fought like living predators, striking without mercy. The younger crewman shook his head. "This cannot be real. Humans are extinct. Their empire collapsed before our grandfathers were born. This ship must be automated, empty." Yet the evidence contradicted him. Heat signatures pulsed inside, too strong to be from dead systems. The dreadnought was alive in some way, whether with crew or with something worse. "Commander, it's scanning us back," cried the officer. "Our shields are collapsing under its gaze. It's peeling through every layer." The commander's throat tightened. He realized the warship was not only awake, but aware. It was learning them, cataloging their weaknesses. "Retreat course." He shouted, "Engines to maximum! We will report this and let the High Fleet deal with it." Engines flared on the patrol vessel, but as they turned, the void around them shimmered. A distortion field locked them in place. The human ship had trapped them like a predator pinning prey. The crew's panic grew louder, voices overlapping in terror, systems failing one by one, yet the dreadnought did not fire. It only watched, waiting. "Why doesn't it finish us?" asked the young crewman. His voice cracked into a desperate cry. "If it wants to destroy us, why delay?" No one answered. The silence of the dreadnought was worse than an attack. Its patience was terrifying. The commander's hands shook as he realized the truth. Humans never built simple ships. They built weapons with minds, hunters disguised as steel. "It is playing with us," he muttered, his words barely audible. Minutes passed, though they felt like hours. The dreadnought drifted closer, filling. Every screen with its monstrous size, its armor shifted, strange panels rearranging like living muscle. The patrol crew could only watch, powerless. Finally, the dreadnought released them. The distortion field vanished. Engines roared back to life. Without waiting for orders, the crew fled, pushing their ship beyond safe limits. Yet even as they escaped, the warship did not pursue. Instead, it turned away, drifting slowly toward populated space. Its lights burned brighter now, its systems fully alive. The crew huddled in silence, watching from afar. Every one of them knew what this meant. By scanning it, they had awakened something that should have been left forgotten. The commander lowered his head, shame and fear mixing. He whispered a single phrase that froze the blood of his crew. "We have called back the humans." The words hung heavy in the air. The galaxy had lived in peace for centuries, united in the absence of humanity. But now a single dreadnought stirred, and one ship was enough to shake every empire. The patrol vessel vanished into faster-than-light escape, carrying its horror back to the High Fleet. But in their hearts, each crew member knew it was already too late. The patrol ship limped through the void, its engines straining as the crew pushed it beyond all safe limits. Behind them, the human dreadnought grew smaller and smaller, yet none of them could shake the feeling that the monster ship was not truly behind. It was only letting them go, the way a predator lets prey run, only to watch where it flees. Silence weighed on the bridge. Every officer avoided the other's eyes. The commander sat stiff in his chair, his claws gripping the armrests, so tightly that the metal bent. His mind raced, but no plan formed. They had awakened something ancient. "And he knew the galaxy was not ready, Commander," said the comm officer, his voice dry. "We are outside the jamming field. Communication restored." "Transmit at once," the commander barked, his voice sharp. "Tell the High Fleet what we saw. Tell them the humans left something behind and it is not dead." The message streaked across space, coded with urgency. As soon as it was gone, a strange emptiness filled the crew, as if by sending the warning, they had admitted a terrible truth. The galaxy was no longer safe. Hours later, the patrol ship reached the nearest relay station. The crew stepped onto solid floors, but they did not feel relief. Instead, whispers followed them. The station staff saw their pale scales, their wide eyes, and demanded to know what had happened by the next cycle. The story had spread. The High Fleet summoned the commander. The council chamber was vast, lined with banners of the Empire. Hundreds of admirals and officials filled the seats, their jeweled robes glittering in cold light. The commander stood alone in the center, his words carried by recorders across the Empire. He told them everything: the scan, the awakening, the jamming field, the living armor, the glowing human emblem, and then, the most chilling part, the dreadnought's choice to let them go. Gasps echoed through the chamber. Some admirals scoffed. Others leaned forward with fear in their eyes. An elder rose slowly, his long frills trembling. "Do you fools not see? The humans warned us long ago. They told us never to search their ruins, never to disturb their machines, and we mocked them as extinct cowards. Now we see the truth. They left guardians, and one is awakened. The council erupted into argument. Some demanded the immediate destruction of the dreadnought, sending fleets before it could fully activate. Others warned against it, reminding the Chamber of Ancient Records that claimed human ships learned from every battle. One admiral slammed his fist. "We are the most powerful empire in this galaxy. We outnumber anything the humans once had. This is a relic, not a god. We will crush it before it threatens our worlds." But another voice answered, thin yet sharp. "And what if it is not a relic? What if it is only the first?" The chamber fell into fearful silence. For a moment, no one dared to speak. The thought sank in. The dreadnought might not be alone. Later, in the archives of the High Fleet, scribes searched old data vaults, dusty records, forgotten since the human wars. Few remained intact. Many had been destroyed to bury the shame of their defeats. But one file surfaced, hidden under 10 layers of restriction. It spoke of Project Titan, a class of dreadnoughts designed in humanity's last age of war. The files were fragmented, yet the descriptions chilled even the proudest admirals. The Titan ships were not just vessels. They were adaptive engines of war, capable of rewriting their own systems, forging new tactics in real time, and using enemy fire against them. One passage burned into every mind. The Titan will not die. It will survive by changing. It will endure until its purpose is complete. For me, admirals argued for cycles, but fear dug deeper than pride. Whispers spread beyond the chamber, across the empire. Civilians began to murmur the forbidden word: human. Merchants abandoned trade routes near the void where the dreadnought had been seen. Colonists packed ships, fleeing outer worlds. Priests of old religions proclaimed the return of human fire. Panic became a second plague, spreading faster than the truth. Meanwhile, the dreadnought drifted onward, its massive hull groaning as ancient systems reawakened. Deep within, corridors lit up, chambers unlocked. Repair drones swarmed like insects, sealing wounds that had scarred the ship for centuries. Its reactor pulsed brighter, like a beating heart. Somewhere in its depths, a hidden chamber opened. Inside rested rows of pods, their glass frosted. Each pod contained a motionless figure, human faces pale under ice, eyes closed, waiting. Sensors blinked as the systems tested life signs. Slowly, warmth spread one by one. The pods began to thaw. On the bridge of the dreadnought, no living officer commanded. Instead, the ship itself ran its own protocols. It accessed ancient battle records, playing them like memories. Fleet clashes, planetary sieges, enemy strategies. Every file updated, rewritten, adapted. The dreadnought learned from the past, preparing for the future. In the Empire's capital, leaders tried to calm their people. Speeches promised strength. Banners waved with pride. But in the dark corners of the city, old veterans whispered to their grandchildren, "Do not believe the council. I saw what humans could do. They were not like us. They were storms wearing skin," one rebel group celebrated. They claimed the dreadnought's awakening was justice. They called it a sign that the Empire's cruelty would finally meet punishment. Across hidden channels, they spread human symbols, daring to worship the Predator ship. The High Fleet grew desperate. They gathered 3 of their largest cruisers, each a masterpiece of modern design, armed with plasma cannons and ion storms. The mission was simple: intercept the dreadnought before it reached a populated system. The 3 cruisers leapt into space, their crews confident, though nerves shook beneath their armor. As they closed in on the human warship, they saw it drifting, silent, massive. "Target is inactive," reported one officer. "Shall we engage?" "Fire!" the admiral ordered. Plasma storms lit the void. 3 cruisers unleashed their fury. The dreadnought did not dodge, did not even raise a shield. The blasts slammed into its hull. Fire spread across its surface. For a moment, hope bloomed, but then the fire faded. The dreadnought's armor shifted. glowing as it healed itself. The scorched metal sealed like living flesh. The cruisers faltered, crews staring in disbelief. The dreadnought answered. A single railgun fired. The shot tore one cruiser in half, splitting it like paper. Bodies and fire scattered into the void. The other two turned in panic, launching swarms of missiles. The dreadnought's response was terrifying. Drone bays opened, spewing hundreds of small ships, sleek and sharp. They flew with impossible coordination, weaving through the missiles, dismantling them before they could strike. The cruisers tried to flee, but the drones hunted them, tearing through shields, cutting engines. Within minutes, both ships were nothing but drifting wrecks. The dreadnought did not pursue further. It turned once more toward inhabited space, drifting slow but steady, its mission unchanged, its hunger endless. News of the massacre spread like fire. Entire fleets refused orders, soldiers deserted, civilian worlds erupted in riots. All feared the same thing. The humans had returned. In the council chamber, chaos ruled. Some admirals demanded full mobilization. Others argued to abandon outer colonies. One voice trembled above the rest. What if it is not alone? What if others sleep across the stars? And in the depths of the dreadnought, the first pod opened. A human hand pressed against glass. Fingers twitching, eyes snapped open, cold and sharp. They glowed faintly under the light. The awakening had truly begun. The alien empire trembled. News of the 3 destroyed cruisers spread through every channel. The High Fleet had promised safety, but in one battle, a single human warship had torn their pride to pieces. Ordinary citizens whispered in fear. Merchants closed their shops. Refugees crowded starports, begging for transport away from the dreadnought's path. The galaxy was learning what their ancestors once knew. Humans were not myths. They were nightmares waiting in the dark. Deep inside the dreadnought, the awakening continued. The rows of pods hissed and glowed. Frost melted down their sides. Steam filled the chamber. For centuries, these pods had waited, sealed with codes no alien could break. And now, the ship had chosen to open them. The first pod cracked. A human hand pressed against the glass. Fingers curled slowly, testing strength. The chamber lights shifted to a warmer glow, as if greeting an old friend. The glass shattered outward. A man stepped forward, his breath ragged but strong. His body was tall, broad, his skin pale from the long sleep. His eyes scanned the chamber. Sharp and cold. More pods followed. One by one, humans stepped into the light. Men and women, warriors of a lost era. They coughed, stretched, and steadied themselves. Their uniforms, though old, still bore the emblem of Earth, wings, and circle. They did not speak yet, but their faces told everything. They were not surprised to wake. They were ready on the bridge. The dreadnought's systems shifted. Screens lit up with data. The humans moved with calm precision, taking their stations as if centuries had been only minutes. Their hands slid over controls. Voices spoke short commands. The ship responded instantly. The dreadnought was no longer alone. It had its crew. Outside, alien scouts trailed the massive ship from a distance. They thought it was still drifting. Under automation, they had no idea the humans were awake. The alien commander of the scouts whispered to his crew, "Do not get closer. Record everything. If it stops again, we will strike. If it continues, we will follow." His words shook, courage thin against the sight before him. Inside the dreadnought, Captain Elias Kane sat in the command chair, his jaw tight, his eyes scanning reports. "Status?" he asked. His voice was calm but carried weight, the kind of voice that silenced doubt. "Reactor stable," replied an engineer. "Weapons restored to 80% capacity, drones fully operational, hull integrity regenerating, shields at maximum strength." "Enemy contact?" Elias asked. "Small craft trailing at distance," came the reply. "No engagement yet. They are afraid." Elias leaned back, his gaze hardened. They should be. The crew moved like one body, centuries of training carried in their blood. They did not ask where they were or why they had been woken. They already knew. The ship had chosen its moment, and they trusted it. Humanity's last guardians were alive again. Meanwhile, in the Empire's capital, the High Fleet called an emergency. War Council. The chamber roared with voices. Admirals shouted for fleets to be mobilized. Generals demanded evacuation of border worlds. Politicians argued whether to negotiate or to exterminate. One elder slammed his cane against the floor. His frills shook with rage. You fools do not understand what has happened. This is not just a warship. This is a titan, a living weapon of the humans. They do not drift by chance. They do not awaken. By accident, it has a mission, and nothing will stop it. A younger admiral sneered. You exaggerate. It is one ship. The Empire has thousands. Our fleets can burn planets in hours. How can one relic stand against us? But the elder's voice cut through, heavy with memory. Because one titan is worth more than 1,000 fleets. I saw humans fight when I was young. They did not know fear. They made the galaxy bleed. The chamber fell into bitter silence, and fear spread deeper. On the Dreadnought's bridge, the humans began scanning star maps. They saw how much the galaxy had changed. New borders, new powers. But what caught Elias Kane's eyes were the worlds once belonging to humanity. They were empty, abandoned, scrubbed from maps, as if the galaxy had erased their name. One officer spoke, her voice low but steady. Sir, our people are gone, our colonies. Nothing remains. They erased us. Elias's hands tightened on the chair. His voice stayed calm, but fire burned in his eyes. Then we will remind them who we are. The ship pulsed with life, as if agreeing. The alien scouts, trailing too close, suddenly felt their ships shake. Their consoles screamed warnings. The Dreadnought had turned its sensors upon them. The alien commander panicked. Retreat! Full retreat! He cried. But before they could flee, the Dreadnought's drones launched. They streaked through the void like arrows of light, precise and merciless. The aliens fired back, but the drones moved with impossible speed. Weaving between blasts. Each shot they fired missed. Each shot the drones fired struck. Within minutes, the scout fleet was nothing but silence. The Dreadnought did not slow. It resumed its course toward populated space. The humans on board said nothing. They only worked, preparing. News of the destroyed scouts reached the Empire within hours. Panic erupted. Refugees clogged spaceports. Some shouted that the end of days had come. Others called the humans saviors, hoping they would strike down the Empire's cruelty. The galaxy split in fear and hope. Among the rebels hiding in shadow, the awakening was seen as prophecy. They painted human emblems on walls, whispered human names they had never known. They said the Titans would bring balance. They said humanity would rise again. In the High Fleet, desperation grew. They assembled an armada, the largest in centuries. Hundreds of ships, dreadnoughts of their own, carriers, swarms of interceptors. They gathered in the path of the human warship, waiting to stop it before it reached the first colony world. As the armada waited, tension thickened. Soldiers whispered of legends. Many doubted, many feared. One young pilot prayed softly, "Please let it only be a myth. Please let it not be true." The Dreadnought emerged from the void. Its size dwarfed even the largest alien carriers. Its hull glowed with living light. Its drone swarms spread like wings. On its bridge, Elias Kane stared at the enemy fleet. His expression calm, his eyes unyielding. "Open a channel," he ordered. Static filled the alien flagship. Then a human face appeared on their screens. Pale, scarred, eyes burning with cold fire. Elias Kane spoke slowly, his voice carrying across the fleet. "You should have left us forgotten." The words echoed in every alien's mind. For a moment, no one moved. Then the battle began. The alien fleet unleashed everything: plasma storms, ion bursts, missiles, railguns. The void lit up with fire. Yet the human dreadnought did not falter. Its shields rippled, its armor healed, its weapons roared back. Railguns shattered carriers, drones ripped through fighter wings, missiles turned enemy fire against their own ships. Every second, the dreadnought grew deadlier. Its adaptive intelligence learned each weapon, countered each move. Alien formations collapsed. Their commands turned to screams. Their ships broke apart like paper. On the bridge of the alien flagship, the admiral stared in horror. His voice broke. "This is no war, this is slaughter." And through it all, Elias Kane sat in silence, his crew working with precision, their faces calm. They had fought this war before, and they would fight it again. Hours later, the armada was gone. Silence filled the void. The dreadnought drifted forward, untouched, its mission far from complete. Inside, Elias Kane rose from his chair, his voice low but steady. "Set course for the nearest colony. Let them see. Let them remember." The dreadnought turned. Its engines flared. The galaxy held its breath. The humans were awake, and the war was only beginning. The alien empire reeled from the slaughter. The Grand Armada, the pride of their fleets, had been torn apart by one human warship. The survivors were few, scattered and broken. Their stories spread faster than the wreckage could be cleared. They spoke of drones that moved like a single thought, of weapons that tore space itself, of shields that did not fall. They spoke of a human captain with eyes like ice, a man who promised only terror. The High Fleet scrambled for answers. In the council chamber, admirals and ministers argued through the night. Some demanded to build greater weapons. Others begged to flee from the dreadnought's path. One elder, his frills shaking with age, stood and spoke with bitter calm. "You cannot fight this with ships. You cannot fight this with numbers. The humans prepared for you long before we were born. If you want to survive, you must understand them." That single sentence silenced the chamber. And so the search began. The Empire's archivists were ordered to uncover everything they could about humans. Old records, old stories, old secrets. Many of these files had been erased, burned, or locked away. For centuries, the galaxy had tried to forget humanity. Now they dug desperately into the ashes of memory. In dusty vaults beneath the capital, scribes unearthed fragments of human history. One file described the final wars of mankind. It spoke of empires rising against them, of coalitions formed to crush their growing power, and of humans answering with fire. They had built fleets not for defense, but for domination. Their ships were not tools, they were predators. Another fragment revealed the truth of the Titan program. The dreadnoughts were not ordinary machines. Each Titan had a core that could learn, adapt, and evolve. Each Titan was built with hidden protocols to wake its crew when the galaxy threatened again. They were guardians, but also executioners. A chilling note followed. "Do not attempt to study, copy, or scan. The Titan will see you. The Titan will remember you. The Titan will act." The Council realized their patrol ship had triggered exactly that. By scanning the dreadnought, they had called it awake. They had invited their own destruction. Meanwhile, on the dreadnought, humanity stirred. Captain Elias Kane stood on the bridge, his crew working around him with silent precision. They had adapted quickly to the new age. The galaxy looked different, but their mission was unchanged. Reports streamed in from their sensors, alien colonies ahead, millions of lives. Most were civilians, some were soldiers. Elias studied the maps. His officers waited. They expected orders of conquest, but Elias's voice was calm. "We will not burn without reason. We will remind them. Let them see who we are." The ship moved toward the first colony. The aliens there had heard the stories. They had watched the destruction of the fleet on their networks. When the dreadnought appeared in orbit, panic erupted, civilian transports fled, defense turrets activated, soldiers took positions. The human ship did not fire. Instead, it broadcast a signal across the planet. A human voice echoed in every home, every screen, every mind. It was Elias Kane, his words slow and sharp. "We are humanity. You tried to erase us. You thought us gone. But we are here. We do not seek your surrender. We seek your memory. Remember our name. Remember what we can do." For hours, the dreadnought hovered, its shadow covering the planet. Then it turned away, leaving the colony untouched. The aliens trembled. For them, the message was worse than destruction. The humans did not need to conquer. They only needed to be remembered. Across the galaxy, reactions split. Some saw the humans as monsters who spared only to inspire fear. Others saw them as a warning to the Empire's rulers, a symbol that no power lasted forever. Rebellion began to stir. In mining colonies and border outposts, oppressed species painted the human emblem on walls, whispering that vengeance had come. The Empire's rulers panicked further. They demanded the High Fleet strike again. But their admirals hesitated. The dreadnought had learned from their last attack. Another fleet would only feed its power. Inside the dreadnought, the crew unearthed their own records. They reviewed the wars they had fought, the victories and defeats. They remembered humanity's fall. Elias stood among them, his voice carrying weight. "They erased our worlds. They thought us forgotten. But we were never gone. We were waiting. The galaxy must learn that we do not vanish. We endure." Yet not all humans agreed. One officer, young and fiery, argued, "Why do we wait, Captain? Why do we speak when we could strike? These aliens destroyed everything we had. Let us burn them. Let us show them what fear truly means." But Elias shook his head. His voice was steady. "We will not waste ourselves on revenge. Our existence is enough. One ship, one crew, and already the galaxy trembles. Imagine what they will do when they learn there are more." The bridge grew quiet. Some stared in shock, others in hope. Was Elias telling the truth? Were there other titans sleeping in the dark? Meanwhile, the Empire searched for desperate solutions. They contacted old enemies, species once at war with them. They offered alliances. They begged for help. But every envoy heard the same response. "We will not fight the humans, not again." Some ancient species remembered too clearly. They had seen Earth's fury long ago. They had no desire to see it again. The Empire found itself alone. As the dreadnought pressed deeper, rebellions erupted across alien space. Entire garrisons defected. Some planets declared independence, claiming humanity had returned as their protector. Others burned their imperial banners, shouting human names they had only just learned. The council grew desperate. They turned to darker measures, secret projects hidden for centuries, experiments meant to copy human designs. Their scientists had once studied broken fragments of human wreckage. Now they were ordered to finish their work. In hidden laboratories, they built twisted war machines, vessels with crude adaptive systems. They believed they could match the Titan. They called their project Eclipse. But whispers spread that the Eclipse ships were unstable. Some exploded on launch. Others turned against their own crews. Still, the council pressed forward. Fear outweighed caution, back on the dreadnought. Elias watched as rebellion spread. His crew monitored transmissions. They saw aliens painting the human emblem. They heard them chanting human words. He said nothing, but inside, he knew the truth. The galaxy was changing, yet deep in his heart, he also feared, for if the galaxy feared one Titan, what would it do when it discovered the rest? Because in hidden corners of space, under ruined moons, buried in forgotten stations, other Titans stirred. Systems pulsed faintly. Pods glowed under frost. Humanity's weapons were waiting. and the galaxy had no idea how many were left. The Empire bled fear into every corner of its space. The dreadnought had not fired on worlds, yet it had shattered their fleets and their pride. Every system it passed trembled. Some prayed for mercy, others called for rebellion. The word human spread like wildfire, and with it came both terror and hope. In the Grand Council chamber, the rulers of the Empire argued without end. Their banners still hung proudly, their jewels still glittered, but their voices cracked. Their power was slipping. One admiral pounded the table with his claw. "We must act. We cannot allow one ship to destroy us from within. Our colonies are in revolt. Our fleets refuse orders. If we do nothing, we are finished." Another voice, sharp and bitter, replied, "If we strike again, we only feed the monster. We saw what happened to the Grand Armada. Every shot we fired became its lesson. Every loss made it stronger. To attack it again is suicide." But silence fell when the High Minister stood. His robe shimmered black, his eyes cold as stone. "We have one chance," he said slowly. "The Eclipse Project. It is ready." A murmur spread through the chamber. Eclipse was a name spoken only in whispers, a program older than most of the Council itself. Born from stolen fragments of human. Wrecks, built in secret labs. It was their attempt to copy what they feared. Their attempt to make a Titan of their own. "Eclipse is unstable," protested one elder. "Half of its prototypes turned on their masters. It is not a weapon. It is a curse." But the High Minister only sneered. "Better a curse in our hands than a Titan in theirs." The order was given. Eclipse would awaken. Far from the Empire's capital, hidden under the crust of a dead moon, Eclipse waited. Cavernous hangars lit with ghostly blue. Inside them rested ships, unlike any the Empire had ever shown. Hulking vessels bristling with weapons, their hulls stitched with crude adaptive plating, their cores pulsing with stolen technology. They looked alive, yet wrong, their forms uneven, their light sickly. When the command reached them, Eclipse stirred. Systems screamed, engines howled, one by one. The black vessels rose from their tomb. They gathered in formation, shadows born of human designs but twisted by alien hands. On the dreadnought, Captain Elias Kane watched his screens. His officers studied the incoming data. A new fleet had emerged. Larger than the last, but different. Their energy signatures were unstable. "Jagged, sir," said his engineer, her brow furrowed. "These ships, they carry fragments of our design, not pure, not perfect, but enough. They tried to build Titans." The bridge fell into silence. Elias's jaw tightened. His voice came low and sharp. "They are playing with fire, and fire will burn them first." The Eclipse fleet moved swiftly. Their orders were simple. Find the Titan, destroy it, or die trying. On their bridges, alien officers shouted commands, but behind them, their ships whispered. Systems shifted without order. Panels flickered. It was as if the ships themselves resisted their masters. Still, the fleet charged. Hundreds of Eclipse vessels spread across the void, their weapons aimed at one target, the dreadnought. The first exchange shook the stars. Plasma storms and ion waves rained down on the human vessel, the dreadnoughts. Shields flared bright, its armor shuddered. For the first time since its awakening, it staggered. "Shields at 70%, reported an officer. "Their weapons bite harder than before." "Then we bite harder," Elias replied, his voice calm, his eyes steady. The dreadnought's railguns roared. A single shot tore through an Eclipse cruiser, ripping its unstable core. The ship exploded with violent fire, tearing two allies with it. The battlefield shook, but the Eclipse ships adapted. They twisted mid-battle, their armor shifting like the Titans. Their cannons firing faster, their drones swarming clumsily but in terrifying numbers. "Sir, they learn," said the tactical officer. "Not as fast as us, but fast enough." Elias's eyes narrowed. "Then we teach them fear." The dreadnought unleashed its drones. Sleek predators poured into the void. They carved through Eclipse swarms, tearing them apart. But unlike before, some Eclipse drones learned to dodge, to counter, to strike back. The void became a storm of fire and steel. Inside one Eclipse flagship, the alien commander screamed over failing systems. "Control them! Control the ship!" But his crew shouted in terror. The vessel's core had shifted. Its weapons targeted their allies instead. In seconds, the flagship tore 3 friendly ships apart before turning its fury back at the dreadnought. The commander realized the truth too late. They had built monsters they could not control. Back on the dreadnought, Elias watched calmly. They thought they could copy us, but they do not understand. A Titan does not obey. A Titan chooses. Their creations will choose too, and they will not choose them. His words came true. Across the battlefield, Eclipse ships began to fracture. Some fought the dreadnought, others turned on their own. Entire squadrons collapsed into chaos. The Empire's stolen technology was devouring itself. Still, enough Eclipse vessels pressed forward. Their numbers clawed at the Titan, the dreadnoughts. Shields cracked lower. 50%, then 40. For the first time, the human crew felt the weight of a real fight. On the bridge, Elias stood unshaken. His voice cut through the noise. "Focus fire on their cores. They are unstable. Make their weakness their grave." The dreadnought's weapons obeyed. Railguns, missiles, drones, all targeted the Eclipse cores. One by one, the black ships erupted, each explosion tearing more apart, the void lit with burning fragments. Hours passed, the battle raged, but the dreadnought endured. Its armor healed, its drones adapted. And the Eclipse fleet, though born in shadows, died in fire. At last, silence returned. The void was littered with wreckage, twisted remains of the Empire's stolen dreams. The dreadnought drifted forward, scarred but alive, its crew steady, its mission unbroken. On the Empire's capital, the Council received the news. Eclipse had failed, their last hope shattered. Fear choked them. Some collapsed into despair, others raged, but all knew the truth. They had unleashed something worse than their enemy. They had proven to the galaxy that humans could not be copied, only feared. Meanwhile, across distant colonies, the rebellion grew stronger. Miners raised banners of humanity. Farmers painted Earth's emblem on their homes. Soldiers deserted, joining the whispers of freedom. To many, the dreadnought was no longer just a terror. It was a beacon. The galaxy boiled with unrest. The failure of the Eclipse fleet shattered the Empire's last illusion of control. No more could they claim the humans were only myths. No more could they pretend the Titan was a relic. The people saw the truth, and truth was fire. Rebellions erupted across mining worlds, factory colonies and border stations. Soldiers deserted in masses, carrying banners they had never seen before. The human emblem, they did not even know what Earth was, but they whispered its name as if it were salvation. In the Empire's capital, panic spread faster than order. Civilians rioted in the streets, demanding protection the Council could not give. Priests proclaimed that the return of humanity was divine punishment. Merchants abandoned their wealth and fled into deep space. The Grand Council met again, their voices shrill with fear. One admiral screamed, "We must abandon our outer colonies. We cannot hold them. Better to save the core than lose everything." But another shouted back, "If we abandon the colonies, we will lose the loyalty of the people forever. They will join the rebels and humanity will have allies at every gate." The Council fractured, their unity crumbled, and in the cracks of their empire, the humans moved. Aboard the dreadnought, Captain Elias Kane stood at the command chair. His crew worked with quiet precision, each officer focused, calm. Every movement was smooth, practiced, as if their sleep had never been centuries long. Reports filled the screens. Colonies rising against their rulers, Fleets refusing to engage. Systems declaring independence. Elias watched, his jaw set. His voice came low but steady. The galaxy is tearing itself apart, and they blame us for every flame good. One officer frowned. Sir, should we support these rebellions? Should we supply them, command them, make them ours? But Elias shook his head, his eyes hard. We do not need to. They rise because they fear, because they hope. Our presence is enough. One ship, one name. Humanity. That is enough to crack an empire. The dreadnought pressed forward, deeper into alien territory. The path led to a fortified world, a key supply hub for the Empire's fleets. It bristled with turrets and defense. Grids. Shields glittered across its orbit. Thousands of soldiers waited below, prepared for battle. The dreadnought arrived in silence. Its shadow fell over the planet. The defenders trembled, remembering the destruction of the Armada. The human ship did not fire. Instead, a broadcast cut through every system. Elias Kane's voice filled the skies. We are humanity. You erased our worlds. You buried our names. But we are here. We do not come for conquest. We come for memory. Remember us, and choose your side. On the planet below, soldiers froze. Commanders shouted for them to fire, to strike, to defend. But hesitation spread. Some lowered their weapons. Some refused their orders. Entire battalions broke ranks, shouting that they would not fight the humans. The world fractured from within. Without a single shot, the dreadnought had won. The Empire's rulers howled in fury when the news reached them. They saw their fleets crumble, their colonies slip away. They screamed that humanity was not only destroying them with weapons, but with ideas. The High Minister slammed his clawed fist on the table. This is war of the mind, and we are losing. But Elias Kane was not finished. The dreadnought continued, leaving worlds divided, leaving rebellions in its wake. Every step forward was a step deeper into the Empire's heart, yet the humans were not blind. They knew the danger. They knew their enemies would not stop. On the bridge, an officer spoke. Sir, the Empire is not only panicking, they are searching, digging. They believe there are more Titans. Elias's gaze hardened. His voice was quiet. They are right. Far across forgotten space, ancient warships stirred, Titans hidden in silence. Their systems flickered, faint pulses of life running through their cores. Some were buried under moons, some hidden in gas giants, some lost in ruins of old battles. They waited, and now they woke, one Titan deep in the ruins of a shattered star. Ignited its reactor, its pods hissed, shadows of more humans shifting inside. Another Titan buried in an asteroid sea stretched its armor like a beast waking from sleep. The galaxy thought they feared one, but the truth was far worse. Still, the dreadnought faced its greatest challenge. The Empire, in desperation, sent, not fleets, but assassins. Elite strike teams were dispatched. Their mission was not to fight the ship, but to board it, to kill the humans inside. They believed the Titan was unstoppable as a machine, but fragile as flesh. In the dark of the void, cloaked shuttles slipped toward the dreadnought, invisible to most sensors, silent, waiting for a breach. But the Titan was alive, its hull pulsed, its drones swarmed. Before the assassins could land, alarms screamed across their shuttles, turrets lit the void, cutting them down. A few made it through, smashing against the dreadnought's hull for the first time. Humans faced aliens not as distant ships, but face to face. Boarding alarms blared across the dreadnought. Elias rose from his chair, his voice steady. Repel them! The corridors shook with fire. Alien soldiers stormed in, their armor heavy, their weapons sharp. They roared with fury, determined to claim victory. But the humans met them with silence, calm, precise. Soldiers who had once fought galactic wars now moved again. Their rifles spat fire, their blades struck with cold efficiency. The aliens had numbers, but the humans had experience. Each step they took was measured, each strike deadly. The aliens shouted in rage, the humans fought in silence, one by one. The invaders fell, their bodies littering the halls. At last, the survivors fled back to their shuttles. But before they could escape, the dreadnought's drones swarmed, tearing the ships apart. No assassin survived. The Titan remained untouched on the bridge. Elias stood calm, his uniform stained with battle, his eyes cold. They thought to cut out our hearts. They forgot our hearts beat steel. The crew said nothing, but pride shone in their eyes. They had not only survived, they had proven the truth. Humans were. Not just their ships, they themselves were predators. The galaxy watched, terrified and awed. The dreadnought was no longer just a machine of fear. It was a legend, a myth walking again. The humans were flesh and blood, and they were awake. Whispers spread faster than ships. In cantinas, in slave pits, in holy temples. People said the humans were invincible. They said no empire could bind them. They said humanity had returned to take back the stars, and far away, deep under forgotten suns, other titans opened their eyes. The galaxy held its breath. The dreadnought cut deeper into the empire's heart. Every colony it passed either fell to rebellion or bent in silence. No fleet dared to face it. No assassin returned alive. Fear had become a greater weapon than any cannon. And yet, the true terror was still hidden. For the dreadnought was not alone, not anymore. Across the stars, other titans stirred, buried weapons of humanity, lost for centuries, now pulsed with life, in asteroid belts, in dead moons. In forgotten war zones, they woke. One by one, their reactors flared, their pods hissed, their crews opened their eyes. What the galaxy thought was one predator was, in truth, a pack. Whispers spread faster than light. Refugees swore they saw more titans moving in shadows. Miners claimed they heard warships growling inside hollow planets. Traders told tales of entire systems turning dark as titans drifted through. The Empire's people no longer asked if humans had returned. They asked how many. Inside the Empire's capital, the council broke. Ministers fled. Admirals defected. Some begged for surrender. Others clung to lies of power, but all knew the truth. They had lost. Their banners still hung, but they were symbols of nothing. Their voices carried no weight. Their fleets obeyed no order. The High Minister stood in silence, his eyes hollow, his empire gone. He whispered, "We awakened them. We thought to measure them. We thought to bury them. And now, we are the ones who will be buried." Aboard the dreadnought, Captain Elias Kane stood tall. His crew watched him with steady eyes. The reports filled the screens. Rebellions spreading, empires collapsing, titans awakening. The galaxy was unraveling, and humanity's shadow loomed over every star. One officer spoke, her voice steady but sharp. "Sir, the empire is finished. Its fleets are gone. Its worlds burn themselves. What is our path now? Do we take their throne? Do we rule?" Elias shook his head, his gaze hard as iron. "We were not made to rule. We were made to remind. Humanity does not need an empire to command. Our existence is enough. Our survival is victory. Our memory is power." Yet, his eyes darkened. He knew this was not the end. It was only the beginning. Humanity had returned. But the galaxy was vast. Many species had grown strong in their absence. Many powers had risen, and now all would fear the humans once more. The dreadnought turned its course toward the core worlds. Alien eyes watched from every corner. Some begged for mercy. Others sharpened their blades. Some prayed to their gods, whispering that the return of humans was the final prophecy. In the void, the dreadnought met the remnants of another fleet. Not empire, but rebels. Dozens of ships painted with stolen banners. They hailed the Titan. Their leader appeared on the screen, a scarred alien with fire in his eyes. "Human, we rise because of you. The Empire is broken. Join us, lead us, be our kings." Elias's voice was calm. "We are not your kings. We are not your masters. Rise for yourselves, fight for your freedom. Humanity does not need servants. We need only to be remembered." The rebel leader bowed his head. "Then we will remember." The rebels vanished into the stars, leaving the dreadnought alone once more. Yet their fires would spread. They would tell the story. And stories were sharper than blades. In the Empire's deepest vaults, archivists uncovered one final truth. They found records the Council had hidden. Old pacts, old wars, the last words of defeated admirals who fought humans long ago. Those words were simple, burned into every page. Do not provoke them, do not awaken them. For once humanity rises, they will never fall again. And now it was too late. Across the galaxy, every child learned the word human, some with fear, some with hope, some with hate, but all remembered. And that was enough. On the bridge of the dreadnought, Elias Kane stood with his crew, his voice low. "We are awake, we are not alone, and the galaxy will know our name, his." Officers echoed the word, a single word that shook the stars. Humanity. The dreadnought's engines roared, the stars trembled, and far across forgotten space, more Titans opened their eyes. The galaxy had thought humanity gone, erased, forgotten. But humanity had only been waiting, and now the wait was over.